Welcome back once more. We are about to head into game number 3 of this best of 3 series. The winner will move on and face VG in the next round. Who will it be? Will it be NiP or the guys from Burden United? We will find out as the guys are already in the draft.
I heard that was actually an awesome introduction.
It was great.
And who will it be coming up?
Real quickly, before we get to draft.
Yeah?
My mother is about to tune in.
Is she?
Can we wave to the camera and say Happy Mother's Day?
Happy
Mother's Day.
Hi, all mothers. Thank you for doing
No,
what
not
you
all
did
mothers,
to my
just
father.
mine. I came up with the idea. It's for my mom.
Hey,
you
this
guys
my
do
mess-
your own thing later.
Oh, I already rung them up. Yeah, don't forget your mothers,
Fine.
guys. It's important.
Don't forget your
And
mother.
saying
also
my mum
don't forget
doesn't
good
matter?
games.
Yeah.
That's
You didn't think of the idea.
It's happening. Is it happening?
It's
happening.
It's
on
low
the
down.
edge.
Now
It's
it's
now
happening.
happening. We're getting
Now
into
it's
the draft.
happening. Let's
We're
do
getting
that.
into
So there's
happening.
priorities.
It's
There's
happening.
priorities.
Sorry, moms first and then
Are
drafts.
you
I
trying to bait the
understand.
Twitch chat as well?
Ron Paul 2018. It's happening. Anyway, so draft is ready.
Yeah, let's go to the
Take
draft.
camera off of it.
That sounds wonderful. Yeah, let's get rid of our ugly mugs as we have the stylishly cut schoolboy capitalist and the old man comb over Toby 1. Who will be your young and old? Casting our game number 3 of Burden United versus NiP.
It's like those mixes that you see, sports broadcasters. They've been in for so long, and you've got like.
And then that
Not to be
young,
gruesome.
that
Not to be
young
gruesome.
whippersnapper that comes in, he just shows everybody up.
Not to be gruesome, but like all the like old sport broadcasters who have been in for years and decades, they're now beginning to die off. So they got to get these like newer sports broadcasters in. So you'll see these broadcasts now, especially in the last 10 years. It'll be like one young guy and one really old guy together.
Are you saying I'm near death?
I mean,
I am turning 30 at TI5.
I mean,
still.
esports moves pretty quickly, Toby. I don't know. You could be dead next year. I'm not sure.
Yeah, everyone thought this was a CSGO cast. This is actually my funeral stream. We're doing for everyone tuning in. If only I was Wraith King. All right. Would you believe it? The bands, they look very, very, very similar, Capitalist.
Yeah, they're pretty
very
much
similar.
Deja vu. The last two games.
Almost with the first pick as well. It's like, what's going on, Cap? What's going on?
Pretty much the only thing that's changed is Burden United went like, yeah, we should ban Away Undying. That's definitely a good call. So the gyrocopter picked up for Ninjas in Pajamas, Witch Doctor, and we'll see what else for Burden United. What if they pick up? Do they go and take Chen on Burden United team to make sure that NiP can't get their hands on it, or they just go, no, you know what? We don't really need that. Plus, Witch Doctor is a good counter to Chen anyway.
I don't know. Like at this point, I'm wondering if DK, who has been kind of like the man of this series, is higher on their priority list.
Look, Toby, they're Bible thumping for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Chat cares about you, Toby.
Thank you. Thank you very much, the Toby 1 defenders. Defend me. Defend me.
Oh, man, they're taking a lot of time on their second pickup here. Burden United, I mean, they could try and lock in a core now. I would still say, like, I think it's one of the most proficient heroes on the side of Burden United. Come with me's Earthshaker, so I wouldn't mind seeing that one. Instead, they go with the Storm Spirit. Now, Storm Spirit had some slight nerfs. Now, he's still very much a viable hero. Not sure if he's worth the 1-2 just because he can be countered pretty heavily, but...
I think at this point, Burden United is looking to try and do what they did in game number 2. And we've talked about this probably to death over the series, so I'm going to do it again because I'm dying. Is the fact that Storm Spirit will allow Burden United to be the aggressors, to be the ones that actually say, we will make the plays, we decide where the battle is going to be. Where Ninjas in Pajamas now will probably find themselves with the Gyrocopter and the Ancient Apparition moving into this counter-offensive kind of move. So Sing jumps in, and then you try and hit him with the Gyrocopter and the Ancient Apparition. You're right, though. They need to counter the Storm Spirit, and both of the heroes which NiP selected do not do that.
Yeah, I'm sure I would flag Disruptor. Like, Disruptor Ancient Apparition is a lot of laning phase damage, but it lacks disables, so basically it means you can't actually rotate at all.
They'll probably just look for someone like the Lion again, would be the easier option, but he's not going to get through the second phase.
Lion, Rubik, I don't think Lion's such a high-value support and has been ever since 6.83. Broodmother banned away by Burden United, again making sure Jonas Simfon doesn't get his hands on that pesky devil. Phantom Lancer taken out by NiP, another carry that again is just super annoying. I think a lot of teams are just going, you know what? Like, it's not necessarily that this hero like heavily counters us or anything. Like, Gyrocopter has good amount of clear with both his ultimate and flat cannon. He's actually quite good versus Venomancer, but he's just an annoying carry to deal with. So they take that one away. Beastmaster, that'd be a lot of single target focus for Burden United if they did pick that one up, but I can understand, particularly the disable being able to go through Gyrocopter's BKB is pretty potent. Gyrocopter, again, relying on that BKB, so any abilities that pierce magic immunity are going to be particularly strong against him.
Yeah, I still am interested to see. Okay, they are going to ban out the Disruptor here from Burden United, so no easy support control and laning presence, even if they are sacrificing the disable. But I was wondering if it'll be Disruptor or the Lion that they want to remove. Because they could potentially pick up the Lion themselves now to combine it with the Witch Doctor, but it does kind of cripple them a little bit because you could just see NiP get a Chen, or potentially an Enigma, or something like this. Like, I don't think NiP want to go in for the Chen because then they don't have that jumping, controlling support like someone like a Lion would offer. But yeah, okay, well maybe that's the other reason why now the Vengeful Spirit's being picked up. They're looking for saving grace but good roaming supports. Also nice when you're on the dire side as well.
Vengeful Spirit is particularly strong with Storm Spirits. You think of him as being a magic damage dealer, but he does a lot of physical damage just because he gets so many right clicks off. So the minus armor is helpful, plus obviously the bigger factor is going to be the swap, saving the Storm Spirit when he does get caught out by whatever support Ninjas in Pajamas choose to go for, whether it's a big melee initiator and they go for some sort of mid-game counter that is a heavy amount of burst damage like Earthshaker or Sand King where they burst him down. Ogre Magi kind of fulfills the in-between role, right? Lion, always strong versus the Storm Spirit because of his disables. The melee initiators I was talking about are good in the mid-game where they basically burst Storm Spirit down by themselves. Ogre Magi has the potential to burst down Storm Spirit in the late game if he does get that multicast and potentially Aghanim's upgrade as well, but he's also just another instant disable that is constant throughout the game.
Instant disable, great control, a great buff up it with the Gyrocopter, and also we're still looking at two other cores which could benefit even more from the Ogre Magi, giving him that Bloodlust. Great hero to pick up. Still interested to see how it's going to work with the laning phase because they're picking this up without knowing who the offlaner of Burden United is. We've seen Ogre Magi's when you can go for the Ignite as well as an early Orb of Venom, and then you're capable of just harassing that hero out of the lane. They can't really do anything against it. So I'd like to see how NiP run the Ogre, if they try and rotate him a lot, or if it's more of this passive pull, stack, farm inside the jungle kind of style with him.
All right, Burden United still got to lock down two of the cores that they have left open here. As far as offlaners go, I wouldn't mind seeing... Phoenix wouldn't be bad, mainly because it's good against the supports, Ogre Magi being a melee hero, Ancient Apparition, slow attack speed anyway. Gyrocopter, he's okay because he can flat cannon the egg, not hit the egg with flat cannon shots, but he can target the egg with his right clicks and then flat cannon everyone else, so you're still kind of effective. But I think maybe a Gyrocopter, a Clockwork would also be nice as a very disruptive hero, and it's another initiator that Lifestealer can benefit from. But obviously the Lifestealer Storm Spirit combination, we saw this in the past many times. Great duo.
Yeah, but if you believe PPD, Lifestealer's crap. But in this combo, I love it. So you've got that Nake's bomb that you can go to work with, and this is able to close up the distance. Either on I doubt you're going to close the distance on Ancient Apparition, but whoever you decide to jump, they're going to die, and they're going to die very, very quickly. So go for the combo. But now what do we do about our laning phase? Is this a Lifestealer on the safe lane? Is the question mark still for the off lane? Because Lifestealer has been moved around a little bit as far as laning phase. He can still run as that off-lane position if you feel it's enough. Like, if you don't feel like you're going to get harassed out by the Ogre and the Ancient Apparition, you could potentially get away with it.
Ninjas in Pajamas, I think, have to go for another core pickup, a mid that can, unless they go kind of like all in on early to mid game, but I don't think they have the power with their support. So I think they have to go on a secondary carry as their mid lane position, solely because the Storm Spirit Lifestealer is going to be really effective versus Gyrocopter through all stages of the game.
How about the Storm Spirit versus the Gyro in the mid? Actually pull the Gyro off the safe lane and pick somebody else.
I mean, similar to the way they try to run Gyrocopter up against the Queen of Pain. Missile spamming, I mean, you have a little bit less intelligence than before. I would say Storm Spirit's more susceptible to the Gyrocopter mid, but don't think that's generally speaking, I don't think that's the right way to run Gyrocopter. I think he's a little bit too farm dependent and too susceptible to ganks as a mid laner. They're going to run with the Viper here. It's more early game than I anticipated.
It's control over the lifestealer is what they're searching
Sure.
for. They want to be able to have the lifestealer, because that's always been one of the major problems of the lifestealer. You even go back like 2 years ago with lifestealer being a little bit more consistent in the meta. I mean, I think actually to go back further than that. But you got blink daggers on the lifestealer just so you could catch up and always be on top of heroes, or you always coupled with someone that could take you with them. And then you could use your infest. But you have to then use it aggressively, and it's not one that's defensive. I can get my life back and come back into the fight a little bit stronger. But the Viper just means you can kite the lifestealer more than anything else.
Sure. I'm still a bit concerned that the Storm Spirit Lifestealer bomb onto the Gyrocopter is going to shut him down pretty heavily.
Because you have no way to send him back, too.
Yeah,
With that disruptor band out, you got no way to control it apart from Ogre Mashai. And you're not going to say cold feet. Yeah.
I like the Clockwork ban out from Ninjas in Pajamas. Clockwork would have had a really rough time this game. Like, it's very dangerous to run him against Gyrocopter and up against Viper because they both were like, okay, we'll just kill you.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's a solid initiator. It would be a very sacrificial Clockwork game. That's for sure if they did go for it.
Well, unless they thought, you know what, maybe the Clockwork could just play a defensive lane on... Because I'm still wondering if this Gyro, AA, and Ogre end up on top.
Yeah, I know. I think
you could run the Viper in the middle, the Viper on the bottom lane, depending who the offlaner is. And you still got the other potential. In fact, it's going to be a Bat Rider.
I don't particularly like NiP's lineup unless they do run an aggro tri-lane because I feel like the Gyrocopter is going to be shut down, so your mid-game to late-game carry is going to have a rough time against all that. Now they have another lockdown here on the Bat Rider.
You're going to hate me for saying it, man, but Throat Ranger would be really nice for NiP right now.
You know, it's not a bad hero here. It's still a bit too susceptible to like the Lifestealer Storm Spirit bombs. I think I want to see something a little bit more durable, but I do think you need to see another carry, semi-carry. I don't think Viper makes up for the Gyrocopter. They run an aggro tri-lane that put Viper mid or bottom, and then they run some other pseudo mid-game oriented carry just to make sure that they're dominant.
The reason why I flagged her is actually more of a distraction than anything else. So you use the bomb to kill off the Throat Ranger, then the Viper and the Gyrocopter have all the space created, and the laning presence is still going to be there with her aura. So you run that aggro tri-lane with the Ancient Apparition buff up, with the Dro aura buff up. Things are nice, but instead they go more manly, and we'll get the Axe pick up now for NiP.
So how does this mean our lanes are going to go? They should try and match up.
Can you put the Axe up against the Bat Rider and still feel confident?
I think they still run a defensive tri-lane here on the side of Ninjas in Pajamas because the Axe won't have a very favorable 1-versus-1 matchup no matter what happens.
Problem is with the Axe, like he can get completely destroyed in that top lane if he's not careful. You can open wounds, stuns, and paralyzing cast. Yeah. It's very easy to kill off that Axe.
No, I think he would have to go jungle. At a certain point in time. My biggest problem here is going to be the fact that like the Axe doesn't win up against the Bat Rider, doesn't win up against the Storm Spirit, right? So while the Viper would have a good matchup, I'm not sure what else they would be able to do.
Let's go to the game, so we didn't have to watch Cap having his legs up on the desk.
What's wrong with that, Toby? We're getting down and comfy here at the studio.
I swear it's just our production guys having... Yep. Let's move on. So at NiP...
Don't flame the production guys.
No, we
Toby.
can't.
They'll cut to the camera.
Hard. They've been working hard, and our studio wasn't blowing up over the weekend. So I'm feeling very, very happy with our first attempt at a LAN final.
I'm saying they're going to cut to your camera when you're like picking your nose in the middle of the cast or something. You know, they have ways to getting to you, Toby.
Just pick it and sniff it.
All right, so they are going to run the aggro tri-lane. Axe is going to be bottom, but there is going to be Burden United running an aggro tri-lane. They are going to be putting Gyrocopter as their mid. So the 1v1 mid up against the Storm Spirit, I feel pretty favorable about that. I think it's better against the Storm Spirit, at least, than it was against the Queen of Pain. Namely because Storm Spirit's attack animation and attack range aren't as good as the Queen of Pain, so which gives your missile spamming perhaps a little bit more value. Plus, generally speaking, Storm Spirit, if he plays a little bit too aggressively at some point or something, you can catch him out with a Rocket Barrage, while Quap, you can't do so.
Interested to see how long Soshka's capable of surviving on this top lane, because it will be the aggro from NiP. Unison Farm, actually, they're switching this up now. Unison Farm's actually moving out. So he's headed up towards the top lane. You've still got Hanskin up here. He came up here primarily to plant down the fresh observer ward, which was scouted out by the dire observer ward. And that puts Limp in towards the mid lane, so it is actually a mid lane gyrocopter. So Era can run the safe lane Viper with the help of Seal Kid here.
Yeah, I think I like this setup, right? They want to be able to contest Burden United's tri-lane. Because they're running a Lifestealer and they've got a ranged farmer in their tri-lane, they've got a natural advantage anyway, plus the Ancient Apparition Chilling Touch just dips you over the edge. The Gyrocopter will win the 1 versus 1 against Storm Spirit, I think, pretty heavily. And then that just leaves the question mark of Jonas Umfan versus the
Era.
Bat Rider.
There's actually a lot of trouble right now. That Paralyzing Cast caused them some problems, and, well, there's enough damage to find the kill. They may even be able to find a secondary one. There's no open wounds. It was Feast that was leveled up here by Necroman, but that means he can dive underneath the tower, and it will be, in fact, that. Burden United with a double kill. They're TPing in the Viper, but he's arrived too late to get any kind of slow. And Hanskin also lost vision of Come With Me for a moment. And,
well,
BU run away.
Congratulations. You got the chance to be able to contest the try versus try, but it's off to a really bad start, feeding away both first blood and a secondary kill. A NiP. They should still be able to recover, but that was a really bad start. You could see Burden United are not going to try and press their luck. They're actually going to rotate their lane up to top and just continue to dodge NiP as best as possible.
Yeah, they could actually turn this into a potential gank, but what they don't know is this Observer Ward. Actually, that Observer Ward, it doesn't give the vision properly. Like, it sees up into the lane, and now they do actually see the Lifestealer. But with Sticky Napalm, now up to 5 stacks, with an open wounds, they can slow down Unison Farm enough that they can just burn him out. So there's now 6 Napalm stacks on him underneath the tower. The Ogre Magi is forced to TP in, but that's still 7 stacks now, about to become 8. He's got stick charges available, and Soshka, too deep, way too deep, will end up dying to Ogre Magi underneath the tier 1 tower. Feeling 8 stacks was enough, but 8 stacks was not enough.
I'm sorry, that was super questionable for them to go for that dive. I mean, I thought the whole entire idea of them rotating Lifestealer up to top lane was the right idea. Don't press your luck. You've already gained an advantage. And then they go for that dive like that. You know how much time that is for a support? You can communicate. Hey, they're going to dive me. You've got like 15 seconds for a support to get a TP and TP in at the right time. I didn't see how that was going to go well for them.
And because of that, now Axe finds levels. They will be moving in towards mid lane, so the rotations still continue. Limp into the tree line. He already lets the Rocket Barrage off, try and drop Sing Sing down as low as he can, and the damage is still there. Sing Sing just managed to find the maximum amount of range for it all.
Yeah. The Storm Spirit just kind of the perfect hero to deal with that hiding place, just because the Remnant gives you that vision now. Soshka forced away.
There's not enough damage there.
Yeah, they force him to use Firefly, which is good enough. It means the Ancient Apparition can solo zone him out while the Firefly is down. Because without Firefly, obviously the Bat Rider has no offensive capabilities to challenge that support.
Necroman's having a hard time getting in on the lane. He's trying to pull the aggro back close towards his tier 1 tower. At the same time, now Hanskin's forced away. The Paralyzing Cask will fly. There is a Magic Missile as well as a Wave of Terror. But Come On Me is unable to get both off.
Sing Sing taking a lot of damage from Limp here in this middle lane. Sing Sing doing the correct play against the missile spam, trying to keep yourself as close to your creeps.
Top lane, is there enough damage? There's a follow-up stun. Actually, no, he can't. The rage was up, which means there was no chance for that Fire Blast.
These dual lanes are really effective, though, for Ninjas in Pajamas. I like this change-up quite a bit. They easily zone out the Bat Rider at bottom lane. The Axe and Ogre Magi combination is tanky enough that these low damage supports can't actually kill them. They both have really high armor.
He's running in. That Rocket Barrage is still there to do some level of damage to Sing Sing. The stun from Hanskin's not going to be enough. Sing Sing's burning up a little bit, but the Gyrocopter is still down for the count.
Burden United playing to their strengths, which is essentially like if the static laning phase is going to be advantageous for NiP, we have way better ganking supports, and that's really being proven with these constant rotations from Vengeful Spirit in particular.
It's got to keep it up. We're all saying NiP's causing to get back into the mix. So right now I'm looking at the Viper and the Axe sitting almost at the top net worth. We've got so many 17s, it's not even funny. But it's the fact that Era's getting all the space in the world now to find his farm on bottom lane, and that Unison Farm, without having to have extra support on top lane, is capable of surviving and leeching the experience out. I'm not making it easy for Necroman. He's caught back up again in the CS, so he's found some space for this too. But things are leveling out a lot more after BU was able to get such a good early game advantage.
And especially with the advantage that SingSing now has over the gyrocopter, because he played the lane right, plus the rotation, super helpful. He now has level 6 and is going to be a big threat to the gyrocopter. It's at this point that SingSing takes a commanding lead in this 1v1.
Hanskin. Necroman's going to move down on him. They already started with a sticky napalm, so he's pretty well slowed. But they're not going to commit the open wounds. They have the potential for a paralyzing cask with malediction and the whole shebang, but it is an Ogre Magi with 7 armor and a whole bunch of stick charges.
Yeah, a bit of a bad idea. If you take a look at the vision, thanks to this ward here from Ninjas of Pajamas in the middle lane, it does see the Vengeful Spirit rotation into mid and make sure that Limp does not get caught out by that one. Otherwise, he would have died to SingSing jumping in, to Sable, into the Magic Missile. Nice pickoff, though. They actually going to win this fight. Necroman, oh. I thought maybe with just another spin, Hanskin might be able to finish off the Lifestealer, but not successful. And in the end, it does go the way of Burden United.
Yeah. So a 1-1 trade-off. Sorry, again, being a little bit late in the camera, but we won't be late for this one. Come on, Me's going to move over, so they might be able to find the opening anyway. Rage doesn't have the mana for the open wounds, however, because he went for the Rage. Well, Necromancer going to retreat back out as quickly as he possibly can. They forced the TP up from Era. So Era moved all the way up to the top lane. He's going to move into the middle lane now. And this is buys time and space for CLK, which is so needed. So desperately needed. They need him to have level 6 and potentially more than 2 consumables and a stick.
And in the end, the rotation to top lane is okay because Era needs to take over the middle lane. They can't have the gyrocopter there. He's just too squishy. Plus, Era needs levels. So it both benefits the Gyro and Viper for them to switch it up. But Era's going to go down either way.
Nice jump. Great stuns. And Soshka also on top of it. And NiP, they're getting outclassed right now by Burden United. They're moving perfectly, and if they can keep this up, then we could be looking at a VG Gaming versus BU.
Yeah, that was very surprising, to say the least. You expected VG Gaming to go on to the finals and Burden United to be the first one out, but at this rate, with the way that game number 3 is going, Burden United are building quite an advantage. They're really just taking advantage of the fact that the supports can't do anything. They can't rotate, and they're pretty poor supports to TP in. The Ogre Magi is okay. One single target stun is all right, but the Ancient Apparition certainly isn't going to do anything for you when it comes to tower diving.
Yep. Right now, Ancient Apparition just has one objective on his mind, and that's all. Like, Screw being there for his team, he needs to hit level 6. If he doesn't, they're not going to get anything. As Unison Farm, I don't know if he's looking to come in from behind, but he has to get down the bottom lane. Come with me. The homing missile is on him. The Steel Kid's already dropped down very, very low. The Vortex is slowing him down, and it's up to BU if they want to try and fight this. We've already got the Firefly being triggered off here from the Batrider, and SingSing's not sure he wants to be here as well. They're just going to leave Come With Me for dead. Like, they're not even going to help him out here.
Really good restraint.
Which is the right choice. Day number 1, BU would have turned around and said, ha, we'll save you. This time they actually leave him.
Yeah, I think that was really good restraint being displayed there from Burden United to choose to not go for that attempted save and try and fight. They're already pretty far ahead. Again, no need to risk it.
Yeah, let's move back, farm it up. Make sure that Soshka doesn't die as well. Like, he's already had 1 death to his name. We still don't have this Blink Dagger on the Batrider. Maybe that's the weakest link here of BU. That their initiation doesn't really exist yet unless you've got SingSing burning a lot of mana, which you can't really do at this point of the game. Yes, Soul Ring plus Tread Switch will give you a lot to work with, but is that going to be enough? See, there it is. Soul Ring, Tread Switch, jumping on Seal Kid. He jumps in again. You're down at 1/3 of your mana, and actually it's still going to be enough. Even a secondary jump down to Limp. The cooldown will be there, and he has more than enough to go in. Sing with a double kill. I shall eat my words, sir.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think SingSing had a good enough time in the middle lane that he's going to be a proficient initiator. Plus, add on the fact that, yes, Batrider is missing his Blink Dagger, but so is the Axe. And the Axe, it's so much more essential for him to have his Blink Dagger because he's the only initiator for NiP. And their whole entire lineup is dependent on that initiation. If he doesn't get a call, there is no cooldown. If there's no cooldown, there's not enough follow-up damage from the supports, the Ancient Apparition, the Viper, to be able to dish out their damage. So it's all reliant on Jonas Samfan at this point. And that's why he's full-time jungling. He can't afford to show himself in lane because if he gets ganked and they slow down that Blink Dagger even further, I don't think NiP have a shot at coming back.
Oh, there's another jump.
Oh, jump.
It's on the Era, and Batrider's right behind him, but Sing Sing, he's got enough mana to finish this one off, or does he? Now in comes Hanskin. He stuns over on Sing Sing, but they have to fight into the Firefly, while Lasso, it's a verbal hit for Soshka, but he doesn't want to do it. Attempted TP out, not going to be successful. Oh, there's that Blink Dagger being delayed even further.
Yeah, and that's really helpful. One, Era survives. Two, they get to support some experience, particularly needed on Seal Kid, because again, gotta get that level 6. Wonder what our Witch Doctors do.
Bottom lane, they're jumping off the Limp. Sing Sing had a haste rune, so he didn't have to jump that far. Comes a fair amount of Rocket Barrage. I think Witch Doctor's hoping he can get himself a solo kill. There were 2 very low heroes. He's got Paralyzing Cask as well as Death Ward. That may just be enough to get one.
He shows himself. Era's actually going to challenge him
Do it.
here. Oh,
Do it.
wow.
Do it. Do it.
Era, why?
He's dead. He's actually dead. There's enough damage
It's
there.
a level 3 Maledict.
It is a level 3. Yeah, he's dead.
Oh, no,
maybe
he's going
not.
to heal up. He's good. The damage isn't going to be enough on that last tick. So I guess that was a good call by Era to challenge him like that, because he had the vision, right? He knew that My Nuts was level 6, that he was coming in with a Death Ward. He challenged him. He does manage to get away. Just barely, but it worked. Risky as all hell, though.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Sing Sing is just content to do whatever the hell he wants. Without an Axe Blink Dagger, there's nothing to shut him down, really.
But that Axe is down at 2k. He just find himself up a nice little stack.
Yeah, they've got to have Jonas Sampan make some big plays. I said he was the kind of the biggest playmaker on the team for Ninjas and Pajamas, and he has to show it in this game.
My Nuts is in trouble. Multicast, it's just the Ignite that's slowing him down. Era's trying to get in behind him too, and My Nuts Paralyzing Cast will slow these guys down, so Necroman can try and fight. Calmly with a stun means Necroman doesn't have to be affected too much by this Viper Strike, aka the Kite ability, and Era, the Earn Charge, is ticking him down at the moment. Hanskin, the swap, actually going to cancel the TP out from him as well, so it might be a 1-for-1 trade for the Wish Shot to die beforehand, but Sing Sing now comes into the fight again, and Hanskin will drop. There are 4 heroes chasing him down, but it's the Storm Spirit to get the kill. And that's going to be his first Oblivion Staff. And this Orc is going to be rapidly approaching for Sing.
Obviously, it's a lot easier to just give up a Vengeful Spirit, but there's a big difference here. Burden United, they gave up the Vengeful Spirit in that one pick-off, right? They're just like, that's fine. You can have that kill. Go ahead. Here, Hanskin sticks around and tries to help out his core and just ends up feeding away another kill. It's something that Ninjas and Pajamas, obviously, you don't want to give up that Era pick-off, but there was nothing he could have done in that situation anyway. So him sticking around was a major loss there for NiP. When you could have...
Long jump, man.
Yeah,
long jump. It's an Axe Bomb. Sing Sing's got a regeneration room, which is why he's being so frivolous with that mana usage of his. And they do jump into the cooldown, but there goes your Gyrocopter.
Yeah, earlier they could have just said, okay, it's a Viper trade-off and we're getting some farm elsewhere, but they're losing too many of these heroes. Jonas Sampan, this is his time to strike, though. He's got a Blink Dagger. The first reveal on a Batrider, it's something, I guess. They're going to shut down the Blink Dagger, hopefully.
They don't.
Maybe not.
No. It would have been critical kill as
Jonas
well.
Sampan, can he intercept? Oh, he was going for it. He was going for the Blink, too, but he hit the fire first.
Now Soshka will drop.
Good pick-off.
Yeah. It's actually really big on him because he was at 2k.
Yeah.
He actually doesn't move back that far, however. So not losing that much gold for the death, but it slows the Blink Dagger more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, it delays it by almost 2 minutes, essentially, right? The loss of gold plus the death timer.
Yep. But at the same time now, BU.
Time to keep going. They got to get Sing Sing.
Yep, there's your jump. Big call,
Beautiful.
double call. Into the Rocket Barrage with the call down. Burden United, there goes your 2 in the mid, plus a Batrider on the bottom. And these are the mistakes they cannot afford to make.
Understandably, Burden United go, okay, the Axe just showed himself at bottom lane. We can push in middle a little bit, but Jonas Sampan quick on the rotation, and he's got to be. I said he had to be making all the plays. He's doing it so far in the first 2 pickoffs, but they're still far enough behind. He's got to continue this trend for at least 2 or 3 more kills.
I'm wondering if BU didn't actually note the fact that Blink Dagger was on the Axe. Because he didn't make it move like he had the Blink Dagger. It was just a simple walk-in. So... potentially they weren't aware of it. That would explain their positioning in the mid.
They do have the mech that is coming up for Era, but it's very slow, particularly on a Viper who was in a, I'm going to call it safe lane farming position.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't actually in the safe lane, but
he's still a 1-for-3 Viper.
Yeah.
It's been a rough time for him.
Axe is actually going to go for the Force Staff here. So a second mobility item.
The jump in the wrong way. They're actually jumped completely the wrong way. They were smoked up. Sing Sing was the man, the ball lightning down. After Kombi moves very aggressively, the TP support did arrive. But they got no jump. The axe is still missing, so they got no control factor over on Sing Sing, so they can't kill him.
It's their control factor right now is like Hanskin running in and getting the stun before Sing Sing reacts, which is not going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
And the Ice Blast also too late.
And that's really only possible. Like you saw, Sing Sing reacted fast enough, and that you only have a chance of that happening during nighttime. Yonasampan's going to get picked off. He may lose his Tranquil Boots.
This is, well, he hasn't picked him up yet. Did they deny him? Unisampan is going to die here.
Yeah, they grabbed the Tranquil Boots. Yonasampan loses that to Necroman. That is such a heavy pickoff there. Yonasampan, not only does it delay up his Force Staff, but it also kills his boots.
Yep. So he's gonna rebuild.
I mean, at this point, you don't build Tranquil Boots again. I think you just get regular boots,
treads.
But it's still another 450 gold kind of down the drain that would have gone into the Force Staff otherwise. Oh dear. Well, I don't know why you drop Tranquil Boots this late into the game. Honestly, it's it can only go wrong. Right?
Especially up against like a Storm Spirit lineup or a Batrider lineup, and you got both of them in this. And he couldn't see it coming. There was no observer wards for it. So now he's up on top with a grand total movement speed of 290. But
He's still going to
allow him to get the blink in. The call as well. Needs more spins. Minot's going to pop here. There goes your Culling Blade, and that's your movement speed away. But he's dying. The Malediction's still going to be there. But Sing Sing, with the Ignite, he's going to jump once more. Survives the Shatter as we actually have a disconnection from the Axe.
Oh, if they'd gotten a multicast on Sing Sing, they could have gotten that kill. But unfortunately, the multicast procced with the blast instead, so miss out on that extra kill, and they basically give away an axe for a Witch Doctor. Not worth it for Ninjas in Pajamas, that's for sure.
We do with that computer crash inside the NiP area, as you see that screen now rebooting. Luckily, it shouldn't take too long to reboot and just get themselves back inside the game. We had a similar problem yesterday, but it was 2 minutes, I think, was the downtime. It was actually quite quick to get back in. So it shouldn't be too long before we start again.
So, I mean, taking a look at net worth-wise, 3,500 gold lead for Burn United right now. A 2,500 experience lead. Nothing that is insurmountable, but it's still a significant lead, that's for sure. Item-wise, the pickups, Burden United, they've got Storm Spirit, who's going to be going for an Orchid, already has one Oblivion Staff. Sakshka finished up his Blink Dagger, as we saw. Come With Me is actually going to go for a Medallion of Courage that can lead into the Solar Crest later on, but the Medallion of Courage is important now because they don't have any heroes that can do Roshan without that minus armor, right?
Yep.
Vengeful Spirit is their best Roche-taking mechanism, whether it's through the minus armor that he has plus the Medallion. Should make that fairly easy. Lifestealer, going to be going for the S&Y build, as he's got both Phase Boots, Drums, and then almost the Sange, though. A very race car style for him.
Kind of like that kind of build though, but he needs it too. I'm just looking at BU, like the fact you bring up Roshan too is a critical point. What happens now for NiP when they keep falling behind? Yes, Urax was able to get an initiation off, but we're noticing now he can't do much more unless he gets that Culling Blade attack, because then there's no movement speed, he can't move to another target, or potentially get out of trouble to come back in again. If you get Negacy Mortal onto someone like Sing Sing, he can get massively over-aggressive onto everybody. Just jump in, kill them off. You've got that Orchid, so you've got control factors over on a lot of different people. You could just take out the Ogre, so where's your stuns then? And if the Axe can't hit his call, then you're free to move around. And even then, with Legacy Mortal, you've got like 2 times worth of Storm Spirit. And that's a lot to deal with. And I'm wondering if NiP is up to the challenge.
I'm not sure if they are. To be honest, I mean, this is a really surprising... but the way I'm looking at this game...
So what might have actually caused the problem was the fact that Windows just updated for him. And it automatically restarted this computer. Smooth.
Well, want to maybe get our analyst thoughts on this game so far?
Oh, that's
But
what you're.
I-
I was
yeah.
wondering what you're doing. I was
I
like, are
thought
you
maybe-
blaming Durka for the Windows update?
Is it my fault? What have I done now?
Turka,
No.
what did you do? No,
Please.
I figured that, since we have this pause, we might as well,
Yeah.
what do you think about the game so far?
I think one of the biggest things I've noticed is lifesteal skill build. Quite often we see people go for a few more points up in open wounds for feast if you want to farm a little bit more, or go into the jungle. He's pretty much maxing out rage, so he wants to farm, he wants to jump into fights, and we're back into the game, guys. So,
Yes, we are.
I'll pass it straight back over. As soon as I start talking, we're all good.
I thought we were going to have like another 5 minutes or so of
No,
this, but apparently not.
As I said, man, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. We got the
Okay.
tech crew here. The second something goes wrong, Christian, who's our head of tech here, just jumps in, fixes everything. We're all good to go.
They know all about how to make Windows updates.
Well,
really
it wasn't even,
fast.
like, yeah, that's it. Like, all we gotta do is update Windows. That's challenging.
Dire's middle tower is under
Yeah, the funny thing is you would have actually had to say postpone that for like 4 hours. Someone else could deal with this. This game will be over by then. VG Gaming will come in and set the computers.
VG Gaming.
Yeah, that's supposed to be what it is. Just have the computer restart in 4 hours and VG Gaming will never know what hit them. Yep.
Smoke out from Ninjas in Pajamas. See if they can find a pick off at bottom lane. They don't have their jumping hero, which makes this smoke very unlikely to work.
Yeah.
Cut through the trees.
But isn't this like the second time we've seen this happen as well? Whereas it's a gank from NiP which relies on Hanskin walking in and getting the stun. This can't function. This won't work.
Yeah, I really would have preferred to see the Earthshaker or the Sand King for NiP or the Lion. I mean, some sort of jumping hero that is able to utilize a Blink Dagger. And then they could prioritize that farm and have someone else besides the Axe who's forced to be the sole initiator, essentially, for NiP.
Well, they're going to force the issue now. So a T1 tower being pushed down by NiP. But it looks like BU have no intention of coming here. Minuts are pushing into the tier 1 tower and mid. The top tier 1 tower actually falls, so the Dire are the first ones to take out the towers. Now fortification will finally be used for the mid tower, but they won't stop this. So you're losing 2 tier 1 towers in mid as well as top to take out a tier 1 tower on bottom, a tier 2 tower as well, but you're committing 5 men to do this while the rest of BU are farming across the map. Like, it almost feels like this is we're losing control, boys. What the hell do we do? Let's just go. We force a fight, we force BU to come to us.
You gotta, I mean, you utilize the tankiness of your Ogre pickup with the Viper having
Storm.
a mech now.
Sing Sing's jumping in. He's able to find Steel Kid, dragging him back. So doesn't have this Orchid available, but Medallion of Courage plus the Wave of Terror. There's just no armor to speak of. So the Ancient Apparition gets picked off, and Soshka's looking for another opening too.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, Era. He tried to get in range of the Witch Doctor for the Viper Strike. Unfortunately for him, the cast bounced back on the second hit, so one was unable to get that pick off. Still, though, I mean, losing the Ancient Apparition, well worth it for NiP to be able to take a couple towers like that. They needed some sort of influx of gold to change this game.
It's so easy with like the buff to open wounds too now for teams to go inside and take Roshan. Like when you got the negative armor, which is there from Vengeful Spirit, you're able to dish out the damage because he just has no
Ice Blast
armor.
is coming in, but I think it's too late.
Yep. They've already leashed out enough life. They're already sitting at maximum. So they burn through it, and they're Sing with the Aegis the Immortal. A full Orchid completed, and we're only 20 minutes into the game. BU have everything they need to win the fights.
I love how ward heavy Burden United are going with this game. The counter ward placed outside of the pit is a particular little help that you're able to see that Ice Blast coming in. So that was a nice little play by them, going in for the Roshan, setting up very well for it with their aggressive vision and even a counter ward. Ninjas in Pajamas now going to have to fight into an Aegis. This doesn't really leave them many options, right? They wanted a 5-man into towers, but now they have to fight 6 heroes.
Storm Spirit, long jump up, finds Okamajai sitting in the tree line. Gonna Orchid him up so there's no stun. Needs a little bit more vision, and well, they're gonna get the stun out. In fact, to pop out from the lifesteal, kill secures. He actually uses infest damage to take the last hit then while doing absolutely nothing. He hitched a ride in the Vengeful Spirit.
That's fine. Eventually, he's got to get an Abyssal Blade.
Yeah.
So that way he's got, this is why I was so scared of the Storm Spirits and Lifestealer, that eventually when you get the Abyssal Blade, you basically get the Lifestealer directly on top of the Gyrocopter, and he then Abyssal Blades him, so that even if you do have a BKB on Gyro, it doesn't matter.
Oh, BU, how far do you want to push this lane? My Nuts is holding the middle lane quite comfortably. He's enjoying this space. He's now sitting 1900 away from having his Aghanim Scepter over on this Witch Doctor while hitting a level 11. So a level 2 Death Ward will be available for the next fight. And this Storm Spirit is getting, I'd say, more and more space. The farm's not really progressing for Sing Sing at the moment, because the kills have started to slow down. But it's because they're now giving more space to Lifestealer, who I swear Necroman's holding on to these Tranquil Boots just to mock Unison Farm.
Yeah, I mean,
why not? He hasn't dropped them, and he's taking up an item slot to do it.
He's playing the mental game, Toby. The mental game.
Oh. You know those booties that we yours? They're now mine. Well, looks like NiP.
They're going to fight over this tier 2 tower. Ninjas and Pajamas seem to be rotating to try and contest, but Burden United back out. They don't have their Storm Spirits, so no sense in forcing it. He's the one who's got the Aegis. Things overall, I would say that Ninjas and Pajamas, their best shot to win this game is just pushing it out as late as possible. Originally, I would say they were more focused on mid-game with Era picking up a fast mech and them trying to utilize some early tower advantage to get like the Aghanims up on the Ancient Apparition, build up the Gyrocopters farm, and just kind of lead the game from there. But they fell too far behind, and now they're going to have to play recovery for the next 20 minutes, I would say.
That's a long time to play recovery, man.
I mean, I really don't see how they'll, like, unless they get really good initiations from Jonas and Pan, I don't think they win fights.
I think that's their only choice. If they let this game go longer, you were putting the nail on the head before. It's the Lifesteal with an Abyssal Blade jumping in. You got perfect control from that. You'll have a Batrider who will probably even pick up a BKB, so he won't care about Jack all. And then an Aghanim Scepter oldie from the Witch Doctor, who it looks like they're going to be using everything they can to kill him off. Nope, they jump in, and it's over on Come With Me. So he'll go down. They don't get the Culling Blade. Actually missed the timing on that, so there's no buff up for the rest of the team, which allows Sing Sing to freely move here. The Cold Feet might be there. Actually, Sing Sing, he has to let himself get hit by that, but the last two back into the Death Ward. It's a 2-for-1, actually one Aegis Immortal trade-off at the moment, while Necroman, still low, has to infest to try and stay alive a little bit longer. Attacking into Era. They still haven't brought down this fight, but Necroman, he survives to it all. There's actually a full team wipe in favor of BU. And the initial hero, which was the Vengeful Spirit, is the only one that dies.
The Voodoo Restoration, open wounds. Necroman somehow managed to stay alive. It's so bad for them. He's actually not going to go for the SNY. No race car for him. He's going for that newer item, Silver's Edge. Ah, man, this is going to be super rough. That means the Viper is going to be incredibly susceptible to that amount of damage. Now he has his own initiation factor. Like, he doesn't even need to jump inside the Storm Spirit or the Bat Rider.
Right, there's that. No spin or no corrosive skin. Good luck. Good luck. They're just going to rip through them. Still crazy to see the fact that Lifestealer can survive that long when you get the Restoration up. There was also, because the first person they kill off is the Vengeful Spirit. It's only a 1 point up in the aura, but you still lost your 12 points of damage, 12% of damage, when you're not dealing enough damage as it is. This Viper's got a mech and an Ogre Club.
Missing the Culling Blade is unacceptable at this point. Like, you cannot miss that Culling Blade, because that is how you stay ahead of the Lifestealer. And we saw Gyrocopter take a good amount of damage because he didn't have that movement speed available. So that was a huge loss. But generally speaking, I don't think NiP can contest Burden United right now anyway. And this is why I was saying
they didn't want that type of fight. Like, what they wanted to do was find one person, kill them, move back to farming. Find one person, kill them, move back to farming. That was the plan. And then BU brought everybody, but then again, with NiP, with the position that we're trying to fight, like, they had to kill him off instantly and get back, because the tier 1 tower, you just TP in more people to try and counter-fight them. They just weren't expecting that many people from BU already in the river.
Tier 1 tower is going to fall in the bottom lane. It's going to fall even before the Ice Blast gets here. So that's going to be a miss. At least they get a trade-off. Ninjas the Pajamas, so I want to go back to talking about them trying to push it late game. I don't think they have better late game. Right, but at this point in time, I think the mid-game is such a loss for them that they need to somehow be able to just... Anything can happen late game, essentially, and that's their best shot. But they're going to continue on to this Tier 2 tower. Burden United not rotating to stop it just yet.
They're coming now. Sing Sing's moving up, so is Soshka, and they just have to TP it, the rest in.
They got the Aghanims on the Witch Doctor. Maybe that's what they wanted.
Let the Tier 2 tower go, then. Sing Sing is in range of this Observer Ward, and this is the pick-off that I would love to have. I think Sing Sing's realizing, I don't know how, because then he can't see them move down. He's just being defensive with the jump. But yeah, they just back it up.
Watch for Necroman. He's got that Silver Edge now, and I'm not sure if Ninjas the Pajamas know They could have been thinking like me, go for S&Y in the life stealer, but
it makes a lot more sense. It's a lot more standard for them.
yeah.
So if you just assume it could be that, yeah, you wouldn't check again.
New Bloodstone up for Sing Sing after the Orchid. Big item pickup there with the Aghanims as well as the Witch Doctor. I think Burden United have hit like a kind of peak of strength that is going to dominate the mid game for the next 15 minutes.
Yes, they need to find the openings. They can't just sit back and wait for it. In fact, they're not going to.
No.
So it's an infest up. They smoke up together. Roshan's still another 1 minute away from potential spawn time, so they're perfectly alright try and take this fight. The question is, where are they? Using static remnants to try and find the positioning of NiP. And NiP...
What was that?
I don't know. He just TP'd back to... He TP'd back to base after the rest of the team smoked up. Again, Come With Me is the one they initiate on. As Sing Sing jumps up and they find Era. They want him controlled, and, well, goodbye to him. That was the passive removal on him,
God,
and that is just tearing him apart. The Ice Blast might have connected, but the damage will continue to be done. Axe is running himself out of here, but he can't run fast enough. They'll move into Seal Kid, who decided to rejoin the team after buying up that gem to give the gem back over again. This is an absolute... disaster. It's not even an appropriate word. What's worse than a disaster, Cap? A catastrophe. It's a catastrophe is what it is.
Burden United can now go uphill, take a tower. Honestly, I think Ninjas and Pajamas, it's not possible to come back after a wipe like that. They're going to lose a lane of Rags. They just had to hope to play defense and make Burden United make a mistake when they try to push uphill, but a bad time for them to try and smoke up and push out. They got into that like clutch staircase area that they can't fight through, and of course the Witch Doctor getting that ultimate out. You can't fight against the Death Ward.
And how smart is this from BU? You take one set of racks, they're coming back up. Don't try and force the issue any further, because then potentially you could lose Roshan and you can give an advantage. And in fact, wow, GG, well played. They decide to just call it right now. Ninjas in Pajamas will be the first team eliminated from the D2CL, and I think, Cap, today Rares were lost.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, today and yesterday with the upset of Empire over Vici Gaming, but Burden United, if there was going to be any sort of upset, I think that we flagged this one as the most likely. NiP versus Burden United. I think both Empire and Vici Gaming looked just too strong and too set in their original positions. So it's not a gigantic surprise that Burden United were able to make this best of three theirs and move on. But still, NiP were definitely the favorite team.
Yeah, I have to say, I didn't expect that after the the good performance we saw in the first game from NiP. So, what were the general thoughts? Where would you pinpoint it down? What do you think actually gave Burden United the edge here?
Again, 3 strong cores. They gave Soshka his Batrider, though. We've seen throughout the tournament, throughout games in general online, banning out Batrider against Burden because Soshka is so strong on that hero. They let it through, let him have it, and his impact was pretty big. The steal on the Tranquil Boots against that Axe, I still can't believe. I was looking every time we clicked on him. Necroman, 20 minutes in, has the Tranquils. 25, still has 28 minutes in, still has the Tranquil Boots. It's just playing into that mind games against NiP.
I got your Tranquil Boots.
Yeah, it was, I mean, Toby couldn't quite believe it. At the beginning of the whole game, I think it was Cap who said, you actually did like the laning phase from NiP. Like the dual lines seemed to work out for them, but what went wrong then?
So Burden United, something that they did very well from a transition from Game 1 to Game 3 was that they reacted a lot better to Ninjas in Pajamas. So here NiP had some decent laning phase, right? They actually had setups so they could potentially win all of their lanes, but the big difference was NiP didn't have any ganking potential whatsoever. Their supports were non-factors in that regards, but you have Burden United who have really good ganking heroes, Vengeful Spirit in particular, and they just rotated really well. I mean, they ganked up that middle lane repeatedly, and it was the same thing they did for game number 2. It was just that matchup was already, fairly even. You throw the Ancient Apparition with the Kunk and it just tips it over the edge. Here, the ganking was responsible for the laning phase going their way, and not just strong lanes.
What do you feel about the Gyro mid? Because we saw that from NiP against VG. It didn't really work out for them there. This game, against the roaming supports, it's an immobile kind of static hero. It's definitely a farming mid that requires quite a lot of farm, and it doesn't offer you the mobility, utility, lockdown, or sort of single target focus. It's great in choke point team fights. It's decent, defending towers along with the AA. but it's not something like a Beastmaster where you can just go running around and make action happen, which I felt NiP needed to bolster their other lanes.
I'm just actually surprised the Gyrocopter didn't win the lane a little bit more heavily, because like the homing missile destroys like almost anyone they go up against, and Storm Spirit's got no way of dodging the homing missile. Like he can't just take himself out of the picture for a while. So I thought there'd be a little bit more harassment to Sing Sing, but Cap said it almost 5-10 minutes in. Sing Sing just played the lane perfectly. He took a little bit of initial damage from the Rocket Barrage, but apart from that, it never had an effect. And then the homing missile came out, but he already had his bottle by that point. And how many runes have we seen him get? Like Burden United's map control, they stepped up so much in today's game that they're actually playing well because they see almost everything. Like the observers are everywhere, the sentry wards are everywhere, and their rune control, their map presence and map control is well beyond what they showed in day number 1.
Yeah, and I would say that like that may be something that in theory is potentially quite good, like the Gyrocopter versus Storm Spirit, or even Gyrocopter versus the Queen of Pain. It might have been something that they experimented with, 1v1 mid or something like that, but when it comes down to reality, it doesn't work out that way. You still have the runes that are super impactful and ganks that are super impactful about that middle lane, and Gyrocopter, particularly the latter half there, is super susceptible to ganks, and I think that was showcased quite well by Burden United.
What do you guys think NiP could have done differently in that game to not let it end the way it did?
Protect their middle a little bit more. Maybe put the Ogre Magi in sort of a pseudo dual lane mid, just because when they started feeling that pressure, like first of all, the Ogre Magi gives you even more opportunities to gank up the Storm. He's the one hero that actually could rotate and have some impact, and also would have been helping out in those scenarios where the Vengeful Spirit comes in and they get the gank.
My question would be, what if that Ogre was an ES? Couple it up with the AA Ice Blast. You've got the defensive capabilities from him as well with Fisher to block off the... I've talked with a few players about this. Earthshaker, we saw so much of him because of the roaming duo of like Venge and Lion. You just stop them in their tracks. Every time they come towards mid lane, he's in that holding role. He's pulling, he's stacking, he's making sure A, Gyro is getting a burst of gold into the mid game, and B, he's defending him from these rotations in, whereas the Ogre, you could see he was there to buff up the Gyro, but he didn't really offer that defensive capabilities as well.
I would also just flag the 2 core selections. You get a Gyro as well as a Viper. Like 2 heroes that require farm before they really come online, which then allows BU, when you go someone like a Storm Spirit who hits his timing a little bit earlier, to really capitalize on the timing of it all. So I'm a little bit... I feel like NiP probably could have drafted a little bit more earlier game. Like the Earthshaker would have made a big difference as well, but yeah, there just wasn't that early presence from NiP, which is what they normally do have. They normally have really great, like, they were running the Lina non-stop. Like, it was this early game presence in the laning phase that you had, and then the rotation would come in, you control everything, and it wasn't there in this series at all.
It's really sad to see them go. I mean, this is the first team which will be eliminated from this tournament, and that means that Burden United will continue walking up the road to potential the grand finals. But the road is long and heavy, as VG Gaming is actually waiting for them in their next game. It's once more going to be a best of 3, and that's going to happen after a quick commercial break. So don't go anywhere, and we should be right back.